Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Today, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind for a few years now. I went to a church ceremony about 6 years ago, and at that ceremony, the pastor who was presiding over it, he was visiting a different church, and I followed him out there. And he said, one of the things he said during that time frame was, if the church did what it was supposed to do, that no community would go without. Now, I'm not exactly sure what all he meant when he said that. But when he said that, it struck a nerve with me. It prompted me to spend the next 2 months meditating and writing. And I was meditating and writing on what I would do if I was over a congregation. Small, large, doesn't really matter the size, but what would I do? How would I solve the ills of the community? What are the biggest ills of the community? What is the greatest impact I can have on a community? So as a church, you see, the thing about a church is that you hold the keys to heaven. And it's a very powerful thing to hold the keys to heaven, to hold the keys that let a person know what happens to their immortal soul once they leave this level of understanding. How would I solve the greater issues that they have? Well, there's a verse that says that instead of feeding a man, you should teach a man how to fish. You know, there are other verses that tell you that you should do business, that you don't know what business will succeed and what will not. There are verses that tell you that you have to show love and consideration and kindness, that you have to plant seeds, and not just seeds in your tithes and offering, but plant seeds in the community. So I thought about this and meditated for years, for a couple of months on this. And then for a couple of years, I presented this to different organizations, different churches and mosques, and no one would really take it on. One person, the person who made the comment, took it on in a very, very watered down version. No slight against that person, because most people were afraid. They didn't want to go the full birth of this. But if I was over a congregation, I would do it. So what is it that I would do? How would I solve the biggest ills of the community? Now, would I teach about spirituality and your path and your walk with God, and how you and the Creator need to walk on a path where you have relationship? Of course. Would I teach you about love and taking care of your fellow man? Of course. Would I even talk about giving and even giving to the organization? Yes, I would. But here's the difference. As much as I would talk about giving to the organization, as much as if every Saturday, Sunday, whatever the day is, Friday, that I would talk about the fact that you're going to give to this organization so that we can continue on with the mission, as much as I would talk about that, because in the African American community especially, we find empty buildings. We find homes that are being rented instead of purchased. We find people who are unemployed to high levels, kids, teenagers who are unemployed to higher levels than most all other communities. So how would I solve this issue? So the way to solve this is to control the economics in the community. But why is it that the church or the mosque can't do this or won't do this? And they won't do it because they have their charitable side of their organization. But even as the charitable side, you can still do it. And my organization will have a charitable side, but it'll also have a for-profit side. Because in the for-profit side, we will buy the plazas in the community. And when we buy these plazas, yes, we would charge rent, and then there's a whole process of how do you pay out the money and that sort of thing so that it can be paid as donations, but we're not going into all of that. Those are greater details that if you were truly interested in doing it, we have to sit down and talk about it. But the main emphasis is that for every member of that congregation, I would find out who has a business. And whomever has businesses and whomever have careers that help business or help people or that you can utilize, I would vet them first. Make sure that they are legal. Make sure they have good standing, that they have all their licenses and insurance. So I will vet them all out. And once I vetted them out, then I will have a board that shows, based on categories, each business within my congregation. And then I would also, right next to that, have a list, because these business owners would go through a class of training, and at the end of that, they will make a promise, a commitment that they're going to hire people from this community, because every time we meet, I am going to, just as much as I would talk about giving to the organization, I'm going to tell the people and implore them that they should go and support these businesses. That if you need a plumber, we have one. If you need a hairdresser, we have one. If you need beauty supplies, we have one. If you want to go to restaurants, we have one. Everything that we can possibly have, we have it. Check here first. Support the businesses within this congregation first. And those businesses would hire the people in this congregation first, because if we're supporting you, then you best believe you better support us. So in that way, I'm helping the community to create its own jobs, to circulate its own money. Now, we would buy plazas and then train people on how to do business, and those who are interested in entrepreneurship, and then we would put them in those plazas. Yes, we're still going to charge rent and do everything above board like normal, but we're going to put our own businesses in these plazas, and then our congregation is going to support the businesses in these plazas so that we are circulating that dollar. And as those businesses grow, then they're going to hire people from that congregation. So you see how now the unemployment rate is going down. Now people can buy homes, and we're going to do things so that make that process easier as well, and make it so that they can get it done. So we are going to circulate the money in the community. Now, why won't your pastor do this? It's not important to them. Now, I know you just said that yes, to mine it is, because every year we have our business week, and every year we got our entrepreneurship class that's going on for 6 weeks at a time. Let me tell you something. Just like in a relationship, you do what is important to you. If you want your spouse to take out the trash every night, you're going to tell them every night. You're going to look for it every night. If you want that dinner cooked, you're going to talk about that dinner every night. If you go to your congregation, they talk about that tithe and that offering every week. Every week they talk about that giving. Why? Because it's important to them. So if it is important to them, they'll talk about it every week. But see, if I keep you in waiting, and if I keep you in hoping, and if I keep you thinking that you give this seed, only plant your seed here, and then you will receive the harvest, and that has some truth to it, but why not teach your people how to plant seeds within their community, how to plant businesses, how to plant job training, how to plant those kinds of seeds, so that, here's the thing, pastors, this is amazing. If your congregation is making more money, then they'll have more to give. And if they know that they got it by your assistance, then their heart is going to want to give more. How about that for a thought? Instead of just give me your money and God will bless you. How about let me help you get blessed? See, that is a servant leader. Let me help you get blessed. Let me help these businesses grow. Let me help these businesses hire the people in this church and this community. Let me help them help themselves. And in that, it'll come back to the church anyhow, because you would then be a huge attraction to people. How about that? You see, that would be my congregation. That would be my church. Too bad that other pastors and clergy can't see that. But y'all have a great day, because my greatness is non-negotiable, and so is yours. And to me, that would be an awesome church, because that would be the church taking care of the community. Y'all have a great day.